After Goku's infinite rebirth, the universe was meant to be at peace, but the Genesis Pulse, the very energy that remade existence, was too vast to be contained. Fragments of Goku's immense power and will scattered like divine seeds across the multiverse, landing in dimensions unknown. From these radiant sparks, a new breed of warrior was born, the Genesis Saiyans. Each one was a divine being, a living echo of Goku's flame, yet unique in their own right, possessing power that could rival the gods. One of these fragments found its way to a world called Etherin, a realm of shimmering light where time itself behaved differently. On this world, the fragment blossomed into Ryzen, the strongest of all the Genesis Saiyans. He was a god of evolution, his power growing with every passing moment, his ambition limitless. He saw himself not as a creation, but as a successor. From a realm beyond time and space, Goku watched. He was a being of pure energy, a silent observer of the new reality he had forged. But he felt a growing disturbance, a tremor in the fabric of creation. The Genesis energy within his scattered children was becoming unstable. Each Genesis Saiyan, fueled by an echo of Goku's own drive, began to believe they were the true heir to his ultimate power, the rightful owner of the Genesis instinct. Their pride and hunger for purpose were twisting the very energy that gave them life. The fracture had begun. This surge of Saiyan pride, a powerful, raw emotion echoing across dimensions, resonated with another legendary soul. From the heart of the eternal flame, the essence of Vegeta was summoned. He was reborn not as a spirit, but in a new, powerful form, eternal Saiyan Vegeta. His purpose was singular, to once again stand as the ultimate rival to Kakarot, his power now scaling to challenge even a god of creation. The eternal rivalry was reignited. Sensing the impending chaos, Goku appeared before the Genesis Saiyans. He manifested not as a warrior, but as a being of pure, benevolent light, his voice a gentle hum across their consciousness. He urged them to find unity, to understand their shared origin and purpose, but his words were lost on them. Their hearts burned with a desperate need for identity, a hunger to prove their own worth. They heard his plea not as guidance, but as a challenge to their very existence. It was Ryzen who gave voice to their rebellion. Standing before his brethren on Etherin, he declared Goku's reign, his philosophy of balance, to be outdated. He formed the Genesis Legion, a powerful army of Saiyan gods who shared his vision. Their goal was not to rule the existing multiverse, but to shatter it and forge their own, a new reality free from the shadow of their creator. In the quiet of his realm, the eternal flame whispered a timeless truth to Goku: every creation seeks freedom. Even from its creator, the war ignited without warning. The Genesis Legion, led by the formidable Ryzen, launched a full-scale assault on the eternal realm, the very heart of the multiverse. Universes trembled, stars flickered, and the foundations of reality groaned under the strain of their divine power. They were determined to tear down the old order and build their new existence from its ashes. This direct assault forced Goku's hand. He could no longer be a passive observer. Reaching deep within himself, he channeled the dormant Genesis instinct, pulling his scattered consciousness back into a single point. His form of light solidified, and once more, Goku stood as a physical being, his presence instantly rebalancing the swirling energies of light and chaos. He was no longer just the creator, he was the defender. As Goku prepared for battle, a familiar presence appeared at his side. It was Eternal Saiyan Vegeta, but he wasn't there as a follower or a subordinate. He looked at Goku, an ancient fire of rivalry and respect in his eyes, and declared, "This time, Kakarot. We end this side by side." It was not about surpassing one another anymore. It was about protecting everything. Their rivalry had evolved into an unbreakable alliance. Together, they unleashed a power never before seen. Merging their individual flames, their very essences, they transcended. Goku's Genesis energy and Vegeta's eternal flame intertwined, creating the dual Genesis form. Their power surpassed even the infinite rebirth, a perfect fusion of creation and warrior pride. They had become a singular force of unimaginable might, But Ryzen was ready. As Goku and Vegeta ascended, he unleashed his own ultimate transformation. Calling upon the ambition of his entire legion, he became Omega Genesis. His power was so immense it didn't just bend space, it bent time itself. He fractured timelines, creating infinite versions of himself from countless possible futures, an army of one that swarmed Goku and Vegeta from every conceivable angle. The clash was catastrophic. The combined energy of the dual Genesis form, the Omega Genesis power, and the countless warring Saiyans was too much for reality to bear. The multiverse began to collapse. Stars reversed their birth, novas imploding into black holes, planets crumbled into dust. Gravity itself began to scream, its laws rewritten and broken in an instant. This was no longer a battle, it was the apocalypse. In the heart of this swirling chaos, a profound realization struck Goku. This wasn't a mistake. Creation cannot exist without individuality, and individuality inevitably leads to the desire for freedom. He finally understood. Even my own flame must evolve, he thought. Even without me, his role wasn't to control his creation, but to allow it the freedom to find its own path. Vegeta, sensing Goku's revelation and the overwhelming power of Ryzen's infinite army, made a choice. He channeled his own life essence, his eternal pride, into the dual Genesis form, stabilizing their shared power at its absolute peak, but sacrificing his own form in the process. He gave Goku the one final, perfect moment he needed to unleash his full potential. With Vegeta's power fueling him, Goku became the epicenter of all existence. He and Ryzen met in the very center of the fractured multiverse. It wasn't a flurry of attacks, but a single, ultimate clash. One punch that carried the weight of creation, destruction, and rebirth. A blow that didn't just defeat Ryzen, it reset existence itself. As the blinding light faded, Ryzen fell, but in his defeat, he saw the truth. In that final moment of impact, he had understood Goku's revelation. Creation and freedom were two sides of the same coin. He knelt, not in surrender to a victor, but in reverence to the truth of the eternal flame. Goku, now the sole arbiter of reality, did not destroy the Genesis Saiyans. He gave them a new purpose. He transformed them into the guardians of the multiverse, assigning each to their own universe, not as rulers, but as keepers of evolution, tasked with guiding life and ensuring its freedom to grow. His task complete, Goku's physical form began to fade once more, his body dissolving into countless particles of gentle light. He was returning to the eternal flame, his purpose fulfilled. As he disappeared, his final words echoed across the reborn multiverse, a lesson for all of creation. No creation belongs to one being. We all hold the flame together, and in the quiet harmony of the new pantheon, the multiverse finally found its true, eternal balance. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more epic sagas. See you next time.